Hey guys, welcome back to Grind Season Outdoors. Today we're going to be diving into a late season hunt from last year. We're going to talk about a little bit of what led up to that hunt, but it was a hunt with my wife and I where she took our first deer off of one of the food plots, our first big time food plot that we've created together. So it was exciting, meant a lot to us, and I hope you guys enjoy this one. So after a long bow season of both Kaitlyn and I trying to tag a buck, and we both had our tags in our pocket, we get to late season and we both have late muzzleloader tags in our pocket. We did a little bit of shotgun hunting, and my wife Kaitlyn, she was sitting in one of our food plots throughout the season a little bit. Never ended up shooting anything, but that carried into late season, which we were kind of most excited about. We were a little bit disappointed. We tried planting beans in the food plot that we were going to be sitting in, and the beans did not work out very well. So our backup plan was just broadcasting some turnips, which ended up actually doing really well. And for how scarcely we spread them out there and for how dry it was, we were pretty impressed with how they turned out and ended up growing. So this was a food plot that I've talked about before, but we basically got permission for this property, and it's the first season that we've really hunted this property hard. So one of the things that we had talked about was creating these food plots and just doing a lot of work for improving the whole property in general, and just kind of making it worth it for us to be able to go out there and do this. And there's just benefits from the landowner side to us hunting it, and all around. We had to earn the trust to be able to do this, but it kind of all came together, and I think everyone got on board with it. And once we started to see things come into place and see some of these big bucks that were hanging around, and the way that they were using the food plots and using the habitat, the way we were able to access parts of the property that you could never access with equipment before, it just all started to come together, and everyone was getting excited about it. So late season was kind of what we designed this food plot for. We had the blind in a location where it would be good with a west wind all the way to almost an east wind, or anything out of the north, which is basically, it covers almost all your winds throughout the whole season. So for late season, this was going to be one of our hot spots, one of the spots where we were going to focus on. And we were kind of monitoring the area with trail cameras. And unfortunately, there wasn't really a lot of big bucks that were showing up on this food plot, but there was one buck in particular that was still left for after, he was still hanging around after shotgun season, and we were hoping that he would maybe show up. So we started hunting this food plot, and on our second hunt, everything kind of just started to fall into place.
All right, guys, we are settled in, sitting in the blind here, looking over one of our food plots that we made this year. We got turnips out there for the most part, and then we got hay going around the outside of it, or alfalfa, I should say. So I don't know, it's not beans and it's not corn, but it is some food. The deer have been hitting it a little bit at night, and then a little bit in the mornings and before dark. So we're kind of just hoping to catch a couple deer come through here. It's probably the best night of weather that we've had so far this late season. It's been warm and it's been wet and just not conducive for getting out here and targeting deer. So we're gonna sit here tonight and hopefully a big buck will show up, but we're also gonna take a doe if given the opportunity. So Kaitlyn's up to bat. I got a doe earlier today when we were doing some hunting with the rest of the family, and yeah, feeling pretty good. It's the last day of the year, so hopefully we can go out with a bang. Guys, we had a couple of really good deer that have been on this property this year, and one of them ended up getting shot, and then the other one, the last time I seen him on the cameras was December 7th, so it's been kind of a while since we've had a shooter or a hit lister or anything here, but I was just telling Kaitlyn, you know, we got a couple bucks that seem to be older bucks, but they just don't have a big rack. So, you know, we're getting towards the end of the season now, and that might be something where we end up shooting one of those deer, just to kind of get one of those mature deer out of the property and allow for another mature deer with hopefully a bigger rack to come in. So I'm a firm believer that you can't really change the genetics in an area, especially just shooting one or two deer. But you know, if you're just taking out those smaller racked bucks that are older and mature, and maybe pushing a couple of those other big ones out of the area, then that's the reason that you want to do that. So we'll see if anything shows up tonight. But like I said, you know, we're trying to maybe shoot a doe, maybe a big one will show up that we haven't seen, or one that we haven't seen in a while. And you know, if we do get a buck out here in front of us, we'll just have to make a judgment call and see if he's worth shooting or not. So we're gonna just keep sitting tight. We've been here for about a half hour, and it's just blowing, the wind's blowing, and I don't know, it's getting kind of cold. Seems like it should be a good night. Can you stay on it right now? Yeah. You feel good about that right there? Yeah. Just take your time, okay? If you're gonna shoot, just take your time and just hang on. Okay. Just take your time, squeeze the trigger, focus on your breathing. Make sure it stops too. gosh! You just shot a deer in the food plot. Oh, oh my gosh. Good job. Got it done, Kate. That was awesome.
That was so awesome.
How do you feel about the shot?
I felt good. She just, you know, Kaitlyn will show footage, but, you know, we had, you know, 6 or 7 does? 6 or 7 does coming up, and a couple of them were tiny, but we decided, you know, we're gonna go at that first one, and, you know, I got 2 different windows here, and she kept just walking and walking and walking that first window, and I kept having to turn and adjust, and she just wasn't stopping. So Colin took my stand, and I switched over to the other window, and Colin said he was on her, and she stopped, and man, that felt good. I shot her, and then she just ran a little bit and just started falling, and haven't seen her get up since. So
Well, it's still light out. I think she's down. You want to go get her before it gets dark?
yeah, we just doubled up on New Year's Eve. Ready?
Yeah. There it is, Kate.
She didn't go very far. Well, guys, just shot the first doe and just the first deer in general out of the food plot that we made this last year, and it was awesome. I just can't believe it. She went maybe 20 yards. That was awesome, and we got it on film, and it was probably one of the best sets that Colin and I had together, or one of the top ones. So got it with my new muzzleloader Colin got me for Christmas, so that worked out really well. And you know, we've been sitting all year waiting for this to happen. We specifically made this plot and put the blind where it's at for this reason. Late muzzleloader season and late season, perfect food source for them. It's not perfect yet, but it worked out exactly like we pictured. So super awesome. And Colin and I doubled up today, so more meat in the freezer, and what a way to literally go out with a bang on 2023.
So I know in this hunt we didn't kill a big giant buck, and just a doe is something that people maybe wouldn't get super excited about, but this was the first deer that we had successfully taken off of a food plot that we created. Never in my lifetime have I made a food plot and been able to see that pay off in the form of killing a deer in it, and it just made it that much better that my wife and I got to do that together on a food plot that we worked on together, and you know, it just meant way more to us than what that deer was. But the fact that she was able to take a nice sized doe, and we were out there together for it, got it all on video, it was pretty awesome. And needless to say, we were both pretty hyped up about that situation. So a couple of the keys to this whole thing coming together was, like I said, earning the trust of the landowner to be able to do this, and going in there, putting in all that work in the off season, and that's what ended up coming together for us there in late season, and I think that's what made it so much more special as well. Another key to it was just spending the time scouting and finding the perfect location for this, figuring out how we were going to set up on it, how we were going to access it, and there was a lot that went into that gets overlooked. But when everything was said and done, it was kind of a bulletproof setup, and still to this day I don't think we've been busted sitting in that location while hunting. So it's been awesome, and I'm looking forward to seeing that place kind of come together over the years and see what it can turn into. Well guys, I hope you enjoyed this one. I know this one means the world to my wife and I. Even though there was no antlers on the deer that we tagged, it was a once in a lifetime opportunity to be able to take a deer off of a food plot for the first time that we had created. So hopefully we can do it again in the future, but nothing is gonna beat that first time deer like that, and seeing all of our hard work pay off and come together in such a cool way. So hopefully you enjoyed it, like I said, and I know we had a blast with it. You know, it's been a crazy deer season, and this was kind of just a good way to wrap it up. Went out with a bang, with an awesome ending, and it's got us fired up about the 2024 deer season. But thanks for watching, guys, and we'll see you next time here on Growing Season Outdoors.